So now what are the different cases through which we consider rays? Now you cannot sit and do I equals R so many. So we have a few common cases for which we consider the following rays. So rays considered to form an image. We have 4 rays we will be studying. Why only 4 rays, ma'am? Is there only 4 rays in reality? No, you have hundreds and thousands and crores of rays. But we will be considering only 4 rays. Why? I made you write one small note saying that for an image to form, you need minimum 2 rays to meet. If these 2 rays are meeting here, that means any ray that is coming will meet here only. So if you find out where 2 rays are meeting, automatically the others will reach there. So now, let us see what are the different rays we consider. First case, parallel ray. Why parallel ray? If this is a concave mirror, focus and see. We already learned that parallel rays after reflection meet at a point called focus. So can I conclude, if I have a ray parallel incident on a concave mirror, after reflection it will pass through the focus. In the case of convex mirror, pole F and C. So the ray is going parallel. After reflection, it will appear to pass from the focus. It will appear to pass from the focus. How do we draw this? First take your scale, draw a straight line. Then keep your scale at this point and join F to this point. You will get a straight line there. So parallel rays after reflection pass through the focus or appear to pass through the focus. Pass through the focus in case of concave, appear to pass through focus in case of convex. So this is the first ray we consider, parallel ray, and after which passes through focus. Ray 2. See, before we do ray 2, it's an application of this itself. Understand one thing. Let's say I have some mirror here or whatever. If I switch on my torch over here, all the light rays that hit here will go here. Do you agree? So now tell me, if I take this torch and I come this side and I switch it on, if all the light rays I am incident on the same path, will it come back here? Yes or no? Yes. So now, what is this called? This property of light to retrace its own path is called retraceability. That means light has a property to travel back its own path. So this property is called retraceability. So now, using this property of light, let's understand one small thing here. If parallel rays come, it passes through focus. So now tell me, if I make it pass through focus, will the ray come out parallel? Yes, same logic. It came here, it came here. Now if I put here, it will come back here. So now if I pass it through focus, it will come out parallel. Don't draw what I have written in red. This is just for your understanding. What I put here will come here. Same thing with this. If I put this ray here, it will come back here because of retraceability property of light. So this brings us to our second type of ray that we consider. If this is a concave mirror, pole, focus, center curvature. If a ray passes through the focus, after reflection, it comes out parallel to the principal axis. In case of convex, it really can't pass through focus. Why? How can it pass through focus? Because it will be behind the mirror. From front of the mirror, it can't pass through focus. It can appear to pass through focus. So, okay. So now, you have the pole, focus and center of curvature. If the ray appears to pass through focus, then after reflection, it comes out parallel. It's ulta there. Parallel through focus. Now focus and then parallel. I hope the two cases are clear. Coming to the third case. What happens if a ray passes through the center of curvature? What happens to the ray if it passes through the center of curvature? Understand this carefully. If a ray passes through the center of curvature, it will come back along the same path. It retraces its own path. Now we need to understand why. This much is enough. It retraces its own path. Understand why? If this is incident like this ray is incident over here. Okay, we don't know where it's going first. What do we do first step? First step, draw the normal at the point of incidence. Why? Because we want to find out angle I. So to draw normal at point of incidence, this is the point of incidence. Normal is nothing but radius. It passes through C. We wrote it in the note. So I can say this is my normal. My normal is also the same line. So now tell me, what is the angle between these two? If this is a line and this is also a line, what is this angle? 0, 30, 40, 50, 90. 0. So if two lines coincide, the angle between them is 0. What's the angle here? 0. Angle I is 0. Due to law of reflection, angle I should be equal to angle R. Can I therefore say angle R is 0? So the reflected ray will also start traveling along the same path. What is the angle R? Angle of reflection and angle of incidence is the angle between incident ray and normal, reflected ray and normal. What's the angle between the reflected ray and normal? 0, which is why the ray retraces its own path. Therefore, we learned the third case now. You don't have to draw and explain all this. Of course, you need to know the explanation in case they ask you why it retraces its own path. All you need to know for ray diagrams is, if a ray passes through C, after reflection, it retraces its own path. Same thing with the convex. Can a ray really pass through C? No, it will never meet the mirror. So it appears to pass through C. How? Let's say it's passing through C like this. So take your scale, put dotted line till here. Why? Because that's imaginary. Then put solid line. So the ray came like this, assume. It was going to pass through C, appears to pass through C. After reflection, it will go back like that only. So it will come, hit this and go back. Okay, so this gives us the third case. The last kind of ray that we consider is ray incident at the pole of the mirror. That means this ray hits the pole at some angle. So now we have to measure angle I. How do we measure angle I? At the point of incidence, one second. At the point of incidence, draw normal. At this point, if you draw normal passes through C. This principal axis is itself the normal. So put a note. At the pole, principal axis passes through pole, correct? So here, principal axis is itself normal at the pole. The principal axis is itself the normal at the pole. Okay. So if this is only my normal, what will be my angle of incidence? Can I say this is I? Yes. So now keep a protractor and measure this. It's 30 degree, let us say. Now keep a protractor ulta like this. Measure 30 degree, 10, 20, 30. Put the ray back. So this will become your angle R. We don't use this. This is just the fourth case we learn. Those three cases are enough for our ray diagrams. But you just need to know this case. So measure angle I, same angle R. Same thing over here. You have pole, focus and C. Let the ray be incident at the pole. So this becomes I. R is measured and it comes out. Is that fine? Yes. Let us now study image formation in concave mirrors. We learn how to draw images in concave mirrors. Such diagrams are called ray diagrams. Before that, how many possible cases are there in concave mirrors? One, I can place my object very far away from the mirror. So very far we'll take it as infinity. So first my object is placed at infinity. My object can be placed beyond C. My object can be placed at C. My object can be placed between C and F. My object can be placed at F. My object can be placed between P and F. These are the places where I can keep my object with respect to the mirror. After we do all the 6 cases, we will come back and fill this diagram and see where the image forms. Easy. You have a table in your textbook. You don't need to by heart it. I will teach you how to learn this one diagram and know the table without by hearting it. So for ray diagrams, I will mention the following measurements in this video. You have to follow the same measurements for the corresponding ray diagrams. Okay. So first case, object at infinity. First, all of you please take your compass and measure approximately 4 centimeters on the compass. Draw a straight line. Keep your compass somewhere and draw a curve. Let the curve cover approximately 4 to 6 lines in your book. So approximately 2.5 lines above, 2.5 lines below. Okay. Now, draw like this. That means it's a concave mirror. We have a pole. Now, measure, keep your scale here. From here, 0, 1, 2, 3. Mark your focus at 3 centimeters. R is equal to 2F. Radius is 2 times F for our kind of objects and images and for our kind of mirrors. So, if this is 3, another 3 centimeters, mark C. So, this will become 6. This will become 3. R is equal to 2F. I repeat, take a radius of approximately 4 centimeters, draw a curve on the principal axis, mark 3 centimeters and another 3 centimeters away, mark C. Now, object is at infinity. If the object is at infinity, what kind of rays will come? Parallel rays? Yes, we already studied if any object is at infinity, if the source is at infinity, the rays coming from that object is parallel. So, let us take a parallel ray, parallel to the principal axis. Now, this parallel ray, a ray coming parallel to the principal axis, passes through the, what we considered 4 rays. First ray, coming parallel, passes through focus. Second ray, passes through focus, comes out parallel. Third ray, passes through C, retraces its own path. Fourth case, we won't be using. So, which case is this? First case, a ray coming parallel to the principal axis after reflection passes through the focus. Please use your scale. I don't have a scale here. So how will you do this? Take your scale, everybody. This point and this point, join it with the scale. Okay? So the ray comes in this. Now, if I have one more ray over here, one more ray has to be the parallel. After reflection, where will it pass? Through the focus. You need minimum 2 rays for the image to form. So we have formed the image. Now about the image, you have to write 3 things. What is the, where is the image? Position of image. Nature of image. And size of image. Where is the image formed? At the focus. Is the image really forming or imaginary? The rays are really meeting, so it is real. All real images are inverted. So real and inverted. Now why, ma'am? Why is an image real and inverted? Why is a real image an inverted image? That you will understand when I do the next diagram. All real images are inverted images. Okay. Size. Infinity, very big. Image is so small. So it is what? Point sized. It is point sized, or you can say highly diminished. Highly, lots, diminished, become very small. If you make something small, it is called diminished. If you make something big, it's called enlarge. So if the object is at infinity, image is formed at focus, and that is the nature and size. Case 2, object beyond C. So now, same case, take approximately 4 centimeters in your compass, draw a curve that covers 2 to 3 lines up and below, 2 to 3 lines up, 2 to 3 lines below. Mark your principal axis, mark the pole, 3 centimeters on the pole, take focus, another 3 centimeters, take another C. So this will become 6 and this will become 3. Now, beyond C, you have to keep the object. So beyond C, keep an object. I have kept my object. Now carefully listen what happens. You have 3 rays. I'll take the first ray. Ray going parallel to the principal axis. After reflection, passes through the focus. So this ray passed through the focus. So take your scale, draw a straight line, join this point and focus and extend it. You have to take one more ray. You can take any ray. You can take through focus or you can take through C. Through C is always the easiest because no work, only one line you have to draw. So I will take through C. If you take it to C, you'll see this ray is going like this and it's coming back like this itself. Where did the rays meet? This ray and this ray is meeting here. So my image is now formed here. Measure and see with your scale. This is smaller than this. So it got diminished. It got diminished. It became smaller. So first let's write down for the image. First is the position. Write full words. I am writing only P. Where is the image formed? Between C and F. Next, nature. Is it really forming? Is the lines really meeting? Yes. So the image is real. As you can see here, it is inverted. If you are standing like this, image is formed like this. It is inverted. That is why whenever it's real, you will find an inverted image. Size. What is the size of the image? It became smaller. So it is diminished. Do not say highly diminished. Highly diminished means in comparison to the object, it became very, very small. That was in the previous case. Here it is just diminished. One of you might ask, ma'am, what if I don't want to consider the C ray? What if I want to consider the case 2, a ray passing through F? You are free to do so. Let us say I am taking the ray passing through F. See, let the ray pass through F. If you take the ray passing through F, you will observe a ray passing through F comes out parallel to the principal axis. Even this ray will meet at this point only. That is why I said take any 2 rays. All the other rays will automatically meet there. So you have to show proof only for 2 rays. So you can consider any 2 rays from these cases. You will get the same answer. You don't need to draw this green part. I have drawn it just to make you understand that this is also allowed. You can do this also. No problem. Fine. So I hope this case is clear. Moving on to the third case. Now we are taking the object and we'll go to C. So now we keep the object at C. Let the object be placed at C. So same case, take your compass of approximately 4 centimeters, draw the curve, mark your pole, mark your focus 3 centimeters away from the pole. This is 6 centimeters away from P, or from here it's 3 centimeters away. You are keeping your object at C. This is a very, very important case. It's difficult to draw. Most of them go wrong here. First, let's take my ray. Ray going parallel to the principal axis passes through the focus. So put the arrows to show its incident and reflected. Now, what's the next case? A ray passing through focus comes out parallel, or a ray passing through C. See, ray passing through C is a bad idea here, because how can you take ray passing through C? I'll show it to you. See, if you take ray passing through C, I am at C. I am at C. How will I take a ray passing through C? Meaning, I am only at C. How will I take ray passing through C? It will never meet the mirror. So you can't take ray passing through C for this case. Okay. So first ray parallel comes through focus. Now second ray passes through focus. If the ray passes through focus, it will meet at, it will come out parallel. It will come out parallel. You will see that the image is exactly at C itself. The image is exactly at C itself. Be very careful in this case. Many of you all won't get it exactly. That means you are not doing your diagram correctly. The image position. Object is placed at C. Image position is also at C. Nature. It is real and inverted. See, it's ulta. So real and inverted, write in words. Next, third case, size. You will find that the size is exactly same. Now many of you all won't get this correctly and you will do it again and again. And you still won't get the answer. So what do we do if this comes in the exam? I will teach you a shortcut technique, but this is only a shortcut technique. This is not the actual method to do. So, how do you do it actually? Mark your pole, mark your focus, mark your C, like I told you already. So now, case 4, object between C and F. Let us place our object somewhere here between C and F. First ray goes parallel to the principal axis. After reflection, passes through the focus. Next, a ray going through the focus. After reflection, passes through, comes out parallel. You will see that the image is formed beyond C. That the image is formed beyond C. And if you measure it with your scale, you will see this is larger. So what happened to the image? First one, write down position beyond C. Nature, real and inverted. Size, it's enlarged. Is it highly enlarged? No, it is just enlarged. It's become bigger. It's not very big. Okay, now this moves on to case 5. What is case 5? You finish this. Now you have to go to focus. At F. Object is at F. So draw your cases, draw your spherical mirror, mark the pole, mark the focus, mark the center of curvature. At F, draw your object. So now I have kept the object at F. If I keep the object at F, first ray parallel to the principal axis, after reflection passes through the focus. Can I take a ray passing through F? No, because if I take a ray passing through F, it will go up or down. See? P, F, C. How can I take the ray passing through F itself? It will never meet the mirror. So I have to go for now third case. Who? Passing through C. But C is behind. No. How will I make it pass through C? You can make it pass through C. Appear to make it pass. Take your scale and choose a line like this. Join this point to this point. So the ray starts from here and it goes here. After reflection, it comes back. See, don't put arrow here, no meaning. Why? Because the object is here. Starts from here and comes back. So you will observe that these two rays are parallel and they are in the same direction. Parallel rays means from where? Infinity. That means they will meet at infinity. So image position, infinity, nature, they are really going in the same direction, they will meet. Where? At infinity. Real and inverted. Also see, this is above the principal axis, this is going down, it will be inverted. Real and inverted. Size. Anything at infinity is supposed to be very large, the distance, height or anything. So you can say highly enlarged. Okay. Now this brings us to the last case where the object is placed between P and F. So now the object is placed between P and F. Let's place it. First ray. A ray going parallel to the principal axis after reflection passes through the focus. So take this point, take your scale, join this point and focus. So use your scale please. Next, a ray passing through the focus goes parallel. You can use that, or we'll use the C ray. Since this is C, what do? Take your scale and join this point and this point. So it will go here and come back in this direction. You can see that both the rays are diverging. It's moving away. Will they ever meet? If I am showing like this, see here, if I am showing it like this, that means yes, the rays will meet. Correct? If I am showing it like this, will the rays ever meet? They're diverging. Will they ever meet? No. That means they have already met before. They've started only before. So, in this case, observe carefully, they are moving away. They will never meet there. That means they've met before only. If there's a person standing here, he does not know physics, he does not know there's a mirror. He will think, oh, the light rays are coming from here. He will think the light rays are coming from here. He does not know physics. So, this point is where they appear to meet. Is it really meeting? No. Appearing to meet. That means there will be an image. In dotted you have to put because it's virtual, it's not really happening, it's imaginary. This is the only case of concave mirror which gives you virtual image. All other cases, real and inverted. So, what can we write for this one? Image position. Where is the image position? It's behind the mirror. Next, nature. It's not really meeting. It is virtual and it's erect. See, it's not ulta. This is Sida, Sida. Is it ulta? No. Virtual and erect. That's why, do you remember? When I told you the difference between virtual and real images, I told you real images are always inverted and virtual images are always erect. You can see the proof. Next, size. This is so small, it's becoming big. Enlarged. So now we finished the 6 cases. I told you I will teach you how to learn the table without by hearting. Go back to the case where we wrote where the objects can be placed. So object could be placed here. Now let us remember, if object is at infinity, according to what we drew, where was the image? At focus. Do you remember? Image was at focus. If object is beyond C, image is between C and F. If object is at C, image is at C. If object is between C and F, image is beyond C. If object is at F, image is at infinity. If object is between P and F, there is no space after infinity. Go back. You'll find that the image is virtual and erect. I'll repeat. See, object is at infinity, image is at focus. Object is beyond C, image is between C and F. Object is at C, image is at C. Object is between C and F, image is beyond C. Object is at F, image is at infinity. Object is between P and F. There is no space after infinity. Go back. Everyone is virtual and erect. Everyone is real and inverted. except the last case in which you have behind the mirror. All virtual images are formed behind the mirror. If all real images are in front of the mirror. So except the last case, all are real and inverted. What about their sizes? If you're starting at infinity means very big. So this is highly diminished. Yes. At focus we had highly diminished, very small. Now small, diminished, equal in size. So from small, see very small, small, same size, large, very large. See here, very small, highly diminished, diminished, same size, large, very large, large. Understood? So these are the 6 cases what we had to study. This is the same table is given in your textbook explaining all the 6 cases in one table. You can by heart the table. The same thing I have explained in the single diagram as well. Now the next topic that we're going to move on to is image formation by convex mirrors. Image formation by or in convex mirror. So now how to draw convex mirror? Same type, only difference is before you're drawing the curve like this, you can draw curve like this also, and you can draw like the rigid side here. Then you have to keep object here. We always want to keep object to the left, so we will follow this technique. All of you take your compass, measure approximately 4 centimeters on a line, draw from this side. Keep your compass needle here and draw and mark it. This will be my pole. 3 centimeters away mark focus, another 3 centimeters away mark C. How many cases are there in convex mirror? Only 2 cases. Why? One case at infinity, there are no points here. Another case in front of the mirror, that's all. You can't keep between P and F. How? If you keep behind the mirror, what's the use? What reflection? Reflection won't happen. To experience reflection, you have to keep it in front of the mirror. At F, between F and C, no case. So there are only 2 cases possible here. First case at infinity, you already studied that. From infinity, what kind of rays come? Parallel rays. So a ray coming parallel to the principal axis appears to pass through the focus. So take your scale, join these 2 points. This will be dotted. Why? Because it's behind the mirror, it doesn't really happen and it goes away. Similarly, take here, it comes. So what is the image position? Is it really meeting? No. First of all, what is the image position? Position, where is it? At focus. So it's at F. Nature, is it really meeting? No. So it's virtual and erect. Size, it's such a large object, it's coming from infinity. It's becoming very small, highly diminished. Highly diminished. Now we move to the next case, anywhere in front of the mirror. Object in front of the mirror. So now in the case of object in front of the mirror, same way, take your compass, draw this, 3 centimeters away mark focus, 3 centimeters away mark C. Keep your object anywhere in front of the mirror. Let's start. Parallel ray after reflection passes through the focus. So take your scale, join these 2 points. Let this be dotted, let this be solid. Another ray passes through C. So take your scale and join these 2 points. It should pass through C. It can really not pass through C. It can only reflection. So it passes and it goes back. Where do these 2 rays meet? They meet here. Is it really meeting? No. So this is the image. It became small, but it's virtual and erect. So what is the image position? Image position between P and F is between P and F, behind the mirror. Whenever you form behind the mirror, you should tell. What's the nature? Is it really happening? No, it's virtual and erect. You can see it's not inverted. Virtual and erect. Size. Big one became small, not very small, but it became small. So highly, no, just diminished. Write down, diminished. So we'll study a small note here. Please write down a note. I want virtual and erect image always, okay? Virtual and erect image. But in virtual and erect, if I want same size, which mirror to use? Use plane mirror. I want virtual and erect image, but I want diminished. It should be virtual and erect, but it should be small. Which one will you use? Plane you can't use. Now you can use this or this. Which one will you use? Convex mirror. Convex mirror always gives virtual and erect and diminished image. But if you want virtual and erect and enlarged, it is only possible with concave. Important, it has to be between P and F. Object should be between P and F. If you simply take a concave mirror, you might get real and inverted. But if you want enlarged virtual and erect, you should use concave mirror and keep the object between P and F. So they can ask you a question, name a mirror that always gives you virtual and erect diminished image. Answer is convex mirror. Name a mirror that can give virtual and erect enlarged image. Answer is concave mirror. I hope that difference is understood. Moving on to the next topic, uses of concave and convex mirror. First, let us see uses of concave mirrors. This particular case is mainly used, especially in dentists. What does these dentists do? See, if your dentist wants to see a cavity in your mouth, cavity is very small. He wants it to be enlarged. Agreed? So what is the requirement of the dentist? He wants enlarged image. Next. Does the dentist want real and inverted image or virtual and erect? Do you ever see your dentist holding the mirror and then holding one screen? Oh, the teeth is here. Oh, the tooth is here. Let's take the screen there. He'll hold only one mirror, nothing else in the other hand. No screen. He sees it with his naked eye. Virtual images are seen with the naked eye. Real images are seen with the screen. You need screen, then you see it. Virtual images directly you can see with your eye. So, do you see him holding a screen? No. He needs enlarged image and he needs virtual and erect image. Which case do you get enlarged virtual and erect? Concave mirror between P and F. First use of the concave mirror, it is used in dentistry to see an enlarged view of the cavities. Point number 2, it is also used as shaving mirrors. Why? On the face, you will have your hair is small. With your naked eye, you may not be able to see the hair. So when you take a concave mirror and you go close to your face, you are keeping your hair between P and F. When you are keeping your hair between P and F, what do you see in the mirror? An enlarged image of the hair. You can catch it. Understanding? So it is used in shaving mirrors. See, enlarged virtual and erect. Again, while using shaving mirror, you don't hold a screen. You see it with your naked eye. You see the mirror with your naked eye. So shaving mirrors, dentistry. Next, very good example application of concave mirror is not this case, but in the case of headlights. Carefully listen. If my object is placed at focus, what did we see? We saw that if the object is placed at focus, the rays coming out are parallel. Do you remember? Let's recap and let's go back to that ray diagram. So if you keep the object at focus, the rays coming out are parallel. So in your two-wheelers, in your cars and all, what they do is, they'll put a concave mirror. You see the two-wheeler, if you stand in this two-wheeler, this is the silver part of the two-wheeler headlight. There'll be one light here. The light will be placed at focus. So what will happen? Rays coming out will be parallel. Why do we need parallel? Parallel beam of lights helps us see the road clearly. We want it to be parallel and straight. So these are used in headlights. Concave mirrors are used in headlights. This is enough for concave mirrors. Let's go to uses of convex mirror now. So uses of convex mirrors. This is usually used in blind curves. First, why blind curves? See, if this is my road and I am going here, or in hairpin bends in mountains, we'll have a mirror like this and they'll keep a mirror in this corner. Why? Because the driver in this car cannot see with his eye there because there's so many obstructions here. He cannot see the vehicle coming here. But this convex mirror, what happens? This convex mirror, what it will do? Because it is bulged outwards, see carefully, because it is bulged outwards, these light rays can hit here and enter this. It's a diverging mirror. And this light ray can hit and enter this eye. So it becomes easier to view who's coming from the other end. So it is used in blind curves. Next point, it is also used as a rear view mirror. What is a rear view mirror? You all have seen in the cars or vehicles, there'll be one mirror in the side here, even in two-wheelers. You use that mirror to see who's coming behind you. Why? First of all, when you're using that mirror, you will see virtual image, correct? Or do you see real image? Means you'll see ulta car. Will the car behind you seem ulta? Inverted? No, you see the car as it is. So you need virtual and direct image. And you will see the image of the cars and those vehicles behind you are smaller. Why smaller? Imagine this mirror is so small, and if you are seeing the actual car like the car, your full mirror will get covered. So we need a smaller image. Diminished image is needed. Correct? So, and the convex mirror has larger surface, larger area. Convex mirror has larger area. Just like how we saw in the blind curves, it has more area. Even this one has more area. So it will show you if this is the mirror, it will show you who is there everywhere. Not just exactly behind you. It will show even little this side and that side. So it gives a larger field view area. Gives a larger field view area, and the objects appear smaller, and it's virtual and direct. Virtual and direct and diminished case is only in convex mirror. This is the reason, because it's virtual, direct and diminished. Because it's diminished, that's why in the mirrors, have you seen, they will write objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. You please see some two-wheelers on the mirror, it will be written there. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. Why? Observe this. Object is far. Can you see this image distance is small? So even though the car is much behind you, it will appear to you like as if it's closer. So objects in the mirror appear closer than they actually are. That's why that phrase is written down on the vehicle mirrors. So convex mirrors are used in two cases, rear view mirrors and blind curves. Questions on page 168, first one. Define the principal focus of a concave mirror. We have already done it. What is it? When a set of parallel rays are incident on a concave mirror, after reflection, they meet at a point on the principal axis. That point is known as the principal focus of a concave mirror. Next, the radius of curvature of a spherical mirror is 20 centimeters. What is its focal length? We know that R is equal to 2 into F. 20 is equal to 2 into F. Focal length is 10 centimeters. See, capital F means focal point. Small f means focal length. Use the correct symbols. Question 3. Name a mirror that can give erect and enlarged image of an object. Erect and same size, plane mirror. Erect and diminished, convex mirror. Erect and enlarged, which one? Concave mirror. When you keep the object between P and F. We just discussed it. Question 4. Why do we prefer a convex mirror as a rear view mirror in a vehicle? We just discussed that too. It gives us a wider field view area. The image is diminished, so easier to see, and therefore they are used as a rear view mirror. In detail, specified answer is given in the NCERT notes section. Please go through the notes and go through your NCERT solution section too. It's explained over there as well.